Hi, it's JP Smith from Boxing Saves Lives, and we're here with a very special guest this evening. It's Liam Conroy. Now, Liam's story is going back to being, starting off as a young boxer, becoming a professional boxer. He was about 20 stone in weight when he took his life back into boxing quite a few years ago now. And we're just going to have a chat with Liam and we're going to tell his story tonight. So, really looking forward. I've been building up to this one for a long time because Liam runs his own gym in Dunstable now. And he's very much thinking along the same lines as Boxing Saves Lives. So we're just going to wait for him to join. And we're going to have a great chat with Liam Conroy. Really excited for this one. So, yes, Jay. Hello,
mate, you right?
Yeah, good.
Finally, I got it.
Nah, you're not too bad, mate. You're no bother at all. I'm just going to switch mine up a bit. How have you been?
Not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just life's getting a bit more balanced now, man. So it's not too bad. Been out doing a few miles on the road and that, so it's good.
Good.
What about you? Good. How's your work?
We're right. Just I'm off work again at the minute. We're laid off again, so parked up at the minute and just trying to sort a few bits out with the gym. So I ain't too bothered. I'm sitting at home with my missus and the kid, just enjoying the sun. So it's all right.
You know what? And I think, as much as I give out about the last few weeks of lockdown, I think I really enjoyed that, spending like my little one, Imogen, she was started walking and all that, it's like, I wouldn't have got to see that if I was at work,
You can't get them times back, mate. Simple as that, isn't it?
Simple as that, yeah. So, Liam, we know each other very well, but, to this evening I wanted to have a chat with you and discuss, about Boxing Saves Lives and something that me and you've talked about for many months, and you were one of the people who inspired me to kind of get things started and start working on it. So, this week will be kind of halfway through the project of doing it, and I wanted to speak to you because you'll be the first coach I would have spoken to about how boxing saves lives. And because you ring through with a lot of stuff I talk about, I wanted to go through all of that with you. And how about we just start from the very start with your journey and how you got into boxing?
So I started boxing probably when I was 14, 15, so I started quite late, really, I suppose. I was playing high-level rugby. And I kept getting into fights on the rugby pitch, even though I wasn't a fat kid, I was a little skinny fella.
Yeah.
And my old man, you met my dad, you know what I mean? He was old school Irish. He got me by the ear one day and he said, "You're going boxing," and that was it. So I did about 2 years as an amateur, I think, there. Had 15 or 16 bouts, I think it was. Won about half, which is okay for amateur sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I drifted off for about 15 years. And then came back into white collar boxing in 2010 when my dad passed away, as you know, just to get fit more than anything.
Yeah.
And then added quite a few of them, quite a few white collar unlicensed, it was called then. And then bumped into Michael Devine on the door of a pub in Luton. And me and him weren't exactly best buddies. Yeah. And he said to me, "Why are you wasting time driving up down the country for a couple of £100 when you could go on the road and earn like 1,200 quid? Well, then it was 1,100 quid for 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And that was that. He took me to meet James Paisley, and the rest was history.
Yeah. And when your dad said you was boxing at the beginning, whereabouts were you boxing to begin with then? Where were you?
Luton Farley. So Farley Amateur Boxing Club. Farley Amateur Boxing Club in the community centre there with Noel McIver. So, and he was an old hard taskmaster. He was. Anyone you've ever spoke to about Noel will tell you that,
Yeah.
So, and it was a tough gym then. You had people like Steve Morgan there. When I was there, he won the NABCs. I think he won the ABAs as well. Yeah, Danny Wilson there was a quality fighter back then. Lee Putney, Stuart Green, senior Francis Story on the end tag out of his career. Sam Morgan, David Morgan. It was a packed gym.
Yeah.
So I took a few beatings in there before I held my own with any of them. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. And so what was the background for your dad thinking about the gym for you? Had your dad done a wee bit of boxing, or how did he manage to?
No, he just said, "I need to release my anger and get some discipline." I was playing high-level rugby. I mean, I was playing rugby from the age of 6 or 7, and then it got to like my early teen sort of thing. I started getting in the county teams and stuff like that, and the minors, and then I was scouted to go to Saracens for a little bit. I kept getting sent off for fighting, and I was like tiny at the time. I was scrum half.
Yeah.
So he said, "You need to go and drag you into boxing to sort your life," and it did. To be fair, discipline got better for the game. I got fitter, and I was in the county team for about 4 years in a row. So it was pretty good.
And how did you find it the first time you got into the gym then? What was it like from going off the rugby field to being in there standing on your own, like with a bag? And
well, it's hard going because obviously I went into an experienced gym. The boys everyone in that gym was good. There wasn't really many just training for the sake of it, Even there was Ashley Has and Darren Has. There was loads there, and a lot of them knew each other well. But I was down at Hotspur Ring first. Before Hotspur Ring Amateur Boxing Club formed, there was a bloke, George, he's dead now, and Jimmy Freeman, a couple of others. They started this little club in the community centre there. And what happened was that I was there, and Norm McIver came down with Farley Boxing Club because their place was getting done up, the community centre, and he saw me punching away on the bag, trying to do a bit with nobody really teaching me nothing. He said to my dad, "What's his story?" Dad said, "He's a lunatic." He said, "I'm just trying to get him down here to try and sort his discipline out." And that was it. I went up to Luton Boys Club the following week, where they were training at the time, took a pasting off Steve Morgan as he was getting ready for a big championship bout. And the rest, and I stayed there for 2 years. I boxed about 9 weeks later.
So how come you went from just going into the gym to just jumping straight in the ring? Was that part of the kind of a bit of a...
That was just Noel McIver's way. That was just Noel McIver's way. If he was always one of them, he's not going to waste his time training you up to a certain standard if you don't like getting punched.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mind getting punched, to be fair.
You couldn't get away with that anymore, could you?
Nah, you wouldn't be able to do it. You have to babysit the kids these days.
Yeah. And what was it like doing your first amateur bout? Where did you have your first one?
My first amateur bout was against a lad called Scott Andrews. I beat him 3 times at the end at Ritzy's nightclub in Dunstable.
Oh, I remember there, yeah.
Yeah, we actually got bout of the night as well, I think, if I recall right. So I beat him quite. It was a scrappy fight, obviously, first bout for both of us. Yeah. I beat him quite well, and then I beat him again after that on points. And then the third time, I stopped him at his own home show in Harpenden Civic Halls.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So you won about half, you lost about half, and then you decided you left it then. So tell, for people who don't know your backstory, you left it for about 10 or 15 years. But
yeah, I left about 10 or 15. Hello? Yeah, I gave up all sport really. Started drinking, hanging around with the wrong crowd, and like you said earlier, I blew up to about, I think at my heaviest I was 19 stone 12 in 2009. I think it was when my dad passed away. His funeral, 2010. Yeah. And then I just started I was going to a weights gym, just lifting weights, and thought I'd just keep lifting weights. And all right, I got in some sort of shape, but I was still fat and couldn't see my toes, even though I was strong.
Yeah.
So I went back to the boxing club with Noel, just to get fit, really, just to train again. And then I lost 4 stone in 5 months. Wow. And then Noel, the amateur side, I had 3 amateurs when I came back, and I lost all 3 of them. So they were good against good boys, but I lost all 3. Yeah. And then I decided I was going to go white collar route. And then obviously when I was white collar, I was boxing like 13 and a half stone, holding my own. But obviously the standard wasn't the same. And then I went to James Paisley, and then I dropped down to about 12 and a half stone.
Yeah, I remember.
And then I left James because our times didn't work out very well. And I went to the Peacock Gym with Frank McIver, with Frank Greaves and Johnny Greaves.
Yeah,
and I debuted in 2013 at 11 stone 6. So that was like a 9 stone weight loss or something.
And you're going in. What was your ambitions when you actually went into professional boxing? Did you know you were quite simply going on the road? You said you had that conversation with Michael Devine. Yeah. Was that what you were planning to do? And being there, tell people a little bit about journeymen and how they work, Liam, just so we understand.
Yeah. My goal was always to go on the road because I know my levels. And I'm not a super skillful boxer. I can hold my own. I'm tough. At the time, I was fit, and I knew that I could mix it with most of what they call prospect coming through, Yeah. And the money was there. Like I say, at that point, it was £1,100 for 4 rounds. Out of that, I take home between £850 and £900 after paying everyone the percentages. So basically, the role of the journeyman was to get in and as these prospects are coming through, there's different levels of journeyman, and just try and take them the rounds, push them a little bit, and take them through. Don't get me wrong. As you know yourself, you do get some boxers that just because they sell a few tickets, they're a professional boxer, not actually that good. And there will be times when you're a journeyman, hold them up, so to speak,
Yeah.
Not deliver a few examples of that. Take them the 4 rounds and hold them up. So I did it for the money. So as you know, you were at my wedding. I paid for my wedding outright cash, the whole thing. So that boxing probably paid a good half of that, So that was my goal, just to make money. Yeah. I was my own downfall, as you know, not managing my weight. After I snapped my bicep and had a year out, I didn't really manage my weight after that. So I shortened my career myself, and that kills me all the time, but that's my fault,
So you got this basically through all of that. You got to see amateur boxing, you got to see, white collar boxing, and then you went down the road and as a professional in the away corner, as they say. So you must have seen a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in boxing. So, you know, you must have given you the bug to some extent, because obviously what we'll get to now soon will be, you know, you became a coach. So how did you get the bug?
I just enjoy being around it. Do you know what I mean? And through being at the Peacock gym, obviously I was around a lot of good trainers, a lot of good fighters. We used to go up to the TKO gym as well.
Yeah.
That time there was quite a few fighters around there as well, Janine's gym. And I used to go up to, I forgot the name of the gym now, up in London near Leamington with James Paisley and all that. And I think I just enjoyed it. And even though I wasn't the best boxer in the world, I learned a lot off them, you know, about the training technique, you know, about the fitness and the skill side and stuff like that. And then once I'd retired from boxing, how it happened was I got asked to go and help in a gym in Luton. It's not there anymore, Team Complete, to run 2 sessions a week.
Yes.
And I was supposed to still be boxing. But then what happened was the sessions started taking over more and more and more. And in the end, I just thought, you know what? I'm not committed enough to the boxing. I'll retire and I'll concentrate on coaching.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
And so you're doing coaching now. You've been through all of that. You've worked through it. Somebody's just messaged me and asked you just a quick question. Who's the hardest hitter in boxing that you've come in the ring with? Who's hit you the hardest?
Probably, I'll tell you what, it wasn't the hardest hitter was probably Jimmy Perrin. He could hit hard. I wasn't fit when I boxed him, and that's why he stopped me. Me and him were good pals, you know, now. But I tell you who probably hurt me the most was probably John Cash. Okay. You watch the video of me fighting John Cash in the last round, I started reaching down to the left because he kept throwing the same hook to the body, same hook to the body. Yeah. It's not always the hard hitters you got to watch, it's the accurate ones. Yeah. Speed and accuracy, power all the time. So
yeah, so you could end up with somebody hitting you like in the wrong, you know, was just not getting it right, and actually you've been able to survive every time. But once they get you in that sweet spot, then you know.
To be fair, the ones I got stopped by weren't the hardest hitters. It was my fault for either not being fit, or cutting weight, or doing something silly. You know, I was never stopped on the deck. I always got up. I got dropped 4 times or 3 times, I think it was, and I got up every time and got stopped on my feet by the referee.
But how did the sport of boxing, from when you came into it, Liam, all the stuff you had going on outside, apart from weight loss, how did the actual sport help you to kind of discipline your life itself?
Helped me because, as you know, I haven't got. It helps me focus. Because obviously, losing my dad and already being a bit of a wild child anyway. Yeah. Once I got into when I was in boxing at school, I did it for discipline because I was playing high level rugby. Boxing wasn't my main thing. The rugby was. And then when I came back into it again, I was trying to lose weight, but also I was going down a rocky road, getting involved with the wrong people on the streets and different things, and getting into fights. But the boxing helped me discipline myself again. And it just that's my main thing is the discipline side of it, and it gives you focus as well. You know, that's what for me what it was anyway. It was never about winning any titles or anything like that. Even though I won the British Masters title, it was all about earning money and discipline.
So I guess when you look at it from that point of view, it's like you can see how somebody, even in that circumstance, without something going wrong in life, could be looking at it going, look, I'm just going to turn up for the money anyway. I'm not going to be a contender, as you say. You can. It quite be easy to be quite ill-disciplined. But then again, when you talk about how ill-disciplined you are, that's still a hell of a lot more disciplined than where you were outside the ring. You know, you were before you actually got back into the sport. So, you know, it's way up here in terms of discipline to a lot of people in their lives.
Well, I was still training hard. Even though I wasn't doing my weight right, I was still training hard. I was still in the gym 5-6 nights a week doing my bit, you know, because I worked full time as well. And that's what people got to remember. Boxing isn't, for everybody, boxing is not all about the competitive side of things. Yeah. You've been in my gym. There's a lot of kids there that will never box in a million days of Sunday. But their parents bring them to me because they've got discipline problems. They've got ADHD. They've got autism. Other people can't handle them. We can handle them in the gym because once they start seeing the discipline side of it, teaching them a bit of pad work, teaching them focus, all that stuff gets pushed to the side and it helps them out. And I've got, like you say, I've got adults coming in my gym that've got mental health issues, stress, problems of stress or whatever, problems at home with their families. They come there to relieve it and to give help their mental state more than anything else.
Yeah. And that's just, I mean, this is where we're going to move towards now, Liam, is that, you know, when you finish your career and then you decided, right, you're going to open the gym, you went down to, you did your work at Team Complete. And then you moved up, you did some work up around Hitchin area as well, didn't you, for the rock gym? Yeah. And then you went out on your own. So how big was the decision to go out on your own? Because actually, before we even get to that, tell us about your 9-to-5 job you've been doing while you did all of this.
Yeah, I drive diggers, as you know, in construction. So I'm up 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, work till 5, and then go to the gym after that. So that's part and parcel of it, isn't it? You know.
And this is what people don't see, and this is the kind of thing I want to bring out with Boxing Saves Lives, that people don't realise the amount of work that boxing coaches are doing. You know, they're part of the communities, they do charities, fundraising events, they're getting kids off the street. But before all of that even happens, at 5 o'clock in the evening, they're out working jobs. You know, they're out working for the council, they're out driving diggers, they're out working in offices, they're out on the bricks. And that's the part of what people don't get to actually find out about. They just kind of assume that the people who work in gyms.
And that can be the annoying thing, because obviously, like, it's an idea of my routine now. So I work, as you know, Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturday mornings. I'm up at 5:30. I get back home to my house 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm back in the gym for 7 o'clock, for 6:30, for the sessions to start 6:30 for the kids. So we have a Monday, we have a session from 6:30 to 7:30, and then a session from 7:30 to 9:30. Tuesday we do one-to-ones and stuff with a couple of little projects we're doing. Wednesday the same, 6:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9:30. Thursday again, 6:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9:30. Fridays we're generally out at shows, out at sparring, or doing something straight after work. Saturday mornings I'm in the gym from 8 o'clock, doing one-to-ones till 10 o'clock. Then the gym's open from 10 to 1. And as you know, mostly I do a lot with Steve Goodwin as well, and I've got 4 journeymen as well of my own that I train. So the pro shows then and amateur shows Saturday nights. Sundays we're out doing sprints over the field, and then we go to shows again. So the boxing's more full time than my job, but the difference is I don't get paid for boxing.
Yeah.
It's not for we're a non-for-profit gym, so I don't take no money out of the gym, and that's why we've been pretty okay through the COVID thing to a certain level. But the only time I get paid is when I do the pros, but that usually generally goes back into the gym anyway.
Yeah. Because you could go somewhere and get £100 for it, but you spend that in diesel or all of that stuff you're doing. You go there taking a fight or do a show and stuff.
Unless you're high level, the coaches, you don't get a lot. You get 10% of the purse. So it's not good. I'd say between 10 and 15% plus your expenses, you know.
And we talked earlier about, you know, some of the kids that come in off the street and that. So Liam, tell people a little bit more about the situation some kids find them in, or how they come to be presented at the gym.
Yeah. So I've got I mean, I take kids from the age of 6 years old, as you know. Not a lot of the gyms do. And I've got, in the younger element of kids, I have kids coming in, they're brought in by their parents because they're getting in trouble at school, they're misbehaving at home, they're obese, all sorts of different things like that. Or even as young as, I've had kids in my gym and still got a couple there who are as young as 12 and 13, and they're suffering with mental health problems because they're getting bullied at school, or they're, especially with the girls now, it's a weight thing. They're not eating right because they don't like their body look because of the way the media presents how you should look and stuff like that. So that's what you're dealing with all the time. Like, we have kids in there for mental health stuff. We have kids that are in there. So a lot of it's mental health for kids nowadays. Yeah. People don't realise, you know, the pressure on kids is unbelievable.
That's a really interesting point you just made, Liam, because I've spoken to Laura Payne, who's a former Team GB athlete who's going pro recently, and I spoke to Kay Prosper, and both of them talked about the pressure that's going on kids on social media. Same thing, the pressure on young kids.
Yeah, it's mental. The stuff that they see on there, you know, about their body types, what they should be doing, how they should be going in life. At the end of the day, the most important thing is their health at the end of the day, and that's it. That should be the most important thing for anybody. Yeah.
And it's tough. I mean, the pressure's getting worse on kids, and I think they're always expecting. I don't know. I think I often talk to people now about the pressures that there's so much more available for kids out there that they're expected to want more. They're expected to, you know, to have more available to them. So it puts pressures on their parents, and we sometimes see the situations where kids who have nothing, I mean, literally nothing, can start getting drawn into things that they can get a quick fix from, and that's where we have to start worrying about how vulnerable some children are. That's like you say, the county
lines. Like me and you talk about quite a lot. The county lines thing is one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah.
They target the vulnerable kids, the kids that have got nothing, the kids that are scruffy on the street, and they will lure them in by the promise of clothing, the promise of money. Just take this little package and jump in this train and go here, or go in this car with someone and go there. And that's where it all goes wrong. But a lot of this is the schools as well. I speak to parents all the time where kids are getting bullied, and they go in and they speak to the teachers, they speak to the head teacher, and they do nothing. Do you know? So the schools have got to get, it's like we said before, it's all right going in trying to help these kids when they're already in trouble. We need to prevent it before they get in trouble.
Yeah. That's it. Just,
Yeah.
you know, exactly. Just getting them out, you know, 6 or 7 years of age, getting them away off the streets or away from harm's way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there will be parents out there who don't bother. We do have a lot of kids in care. I made the point to you before that, you know, I'm going to get some petrol out of Tesco's, and you see, you know, situations where you go and put the pump in the car and there'll be an advertisement on the pump for, you know, fostering and stuff. And it's not because people are renting the kids out, because, as you know yourself about these situations. So there's a lot of kids in care. The mental health crisis, big cutbacks. The kids are never more vulnerable before. I mean, they have, in some extent, they haven't had it better than they've had before, because you know, we've got a lot more available to us, so you've got a chance to do better. But at the other end of the scale, kids are a lot more vulnerable than they were a few years ago. And you know what? I love that honesty. And I've just seen 2 comments from 2 different people there. One being Blaine Courtney, we spoke to a few weeks ago, and another one from Jamo Boxing. And both said, you know, one of the most honest person they've ever met in boxing. Yeah.
Just say how it is. I don't. Some people love me, some people don't. But at the end of the day, as long as my aim with the gym is not to be everyone's best friend, it's to make a difference. Do you know what I mean? Like we said, and lead people down the right path. Because I was a lunatic when I was younger. If I hadn't been for boxing, I probably would have been locked up. And even again, when I was adult, when I was 30, when I went back into boxing, I was doing all sorts of stuff, going out, drinking. So going back into boxing again gave me a focus and a direction, you know?
Yeah. And I often think to myself, when I describe you, I talk about somebody who, like, even when you're going, if you're, it's the best thing, even if you're annoyed about something, it's always, your heart's always in the right place about something. You know what I mean? If you're fuming about a fighter who hasn't done something, we're chatting on the phone, you're saying, this goes on. It's always because your heart's in the right place.
And the boys in the gym will tell you that, even like the adult ones, you know, and the young ones, even though the adults understand a bit more, the seniors, or say from the 15-year-olds up. When I'm screaming and shouting at them, I'll say to them, I don't want you to do what I did wrong, what other fighters are doing wrong. If I'm telling them about their weight, you're supposed to be fighting at 70 kilos and you're blowing up to 73, 74. I'm shouting at you because I care. Because I don't want you losing sweating your way out and, you know, doing it the wrong way.
So when you're dealing with your boxers and all that, and you're dealing with the young kids, you know, how do you find how the kids are receive it from, say, a young kid who comes into the gym, say they're about, say, 10 or 11, how do you find what they receive the gym as they come in for the first time? What do they think about the gym? Do you see a lot of them are quite scared, or?
Yeah, you get some and you get some kids who just bounce in because they're full of confidence, don't they? And then they start running around and they realise how hard it is. But like you say, a lot of them, what I generally do, we don't let parents in the gym because safeguarding. My gym's only small and I don't want adults standing too close to the kids, this, that and the other. And plus, they listen more if it's just us in the gym. If the parents there, they're looking for a way out all the time, you know? And especially with the younger kids, it's not that hard. It's more basic anyway. But you get a lot of them come in and they're shy and they don't talk too much and they're scared. By the end of the first session, they're loving it. They all come back. I'd say 95% of the kids always come back, no matter how young they are and how scared they are. Always. We've got girls in our gym, boys in our gym. We've got all sorts in our gym, you know?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I've been obviously for a few sessions and seen the kids, you know, going around, and, you know, a lot of kids have a smile on their face. It's absolutely amazing to see the kids just getting involved. Now, you could have about 30 of them in a session. And in a way, in a weird kind of way, that kind of can be your undoing, because actually, at the moment, you might need to get a new place and stuff like that.
Well, the way it's going at the minute, because obviously we just had a flood in our building. That's like the 4th time now. We're having a row in a minute because we've got no floor in there at the minute. So there's like £700 worth of damage done on mats in there. So my lease is up on that building, but as you know, I can't say the building, but we've been in talks with Dunstable Town Council now for quite a while, but because of COVID, it got in the way. But if we get this new place, it's going to be a different level, you know. There's 2 halls there, toilet, showers, everything, you know. If we do that, then we'll aim towards like I said to you the other day, want to get them more into community projects, working with underprivileged kids, disengaged kids, rather than expelling them from school, bring them to us, going into schools, working in a disengaged school, stuff like that, and working with the probation services and things like that, you know. So we'll have the room to do that then, you see.
And that's the thing is, Liam, is that, you know, if you say you hadn't gotten back in the boxing properly, okay, before you actually managed to get yourself straight, and you had ended up going inside, how good would it have been for you if you had somebody who'd come to you and saw you when you were coming out of prison and been to probation, or say you got a community sentence or whatever, come and said to
Yeah.
you, you know what, how about you come and give this a try? How good would that have been for rebuilding your life before you even try and get back to work and all that?
Yeah, well, experience I've got of it now, obviously, it does work. You know, it gives you a sense of being as with you get become part of that community, part of that group. The training and the fitness gives you a sense of feeling good, even though it hurts at first. You know, your mental state feels better. You feel better about yourself. You know, and if you've got to come there, what we're trying to do, like me and you spoke about before, and we spoke. One of our boxers' stepdads is in 2 prisons. He works for a charity that works in getting them back into the community. And what they do, if they've had problems with violence or anger, they actually direct them to our gym, so they have to come there and check in, sort of thing. That's one thing I'm trying to get into. So if they come out and they're in our area and they're known for being in trouble for violence or anger or stuff like that, they have to come to the gym. They have to do the sessions in a way of trying to release, keep them on the, you know what I mean, keep them calm and work their way back into the community that way.
And that's the thing, it's about making them part of the community. It's about making them, building relationships in themselves, self-control, self-worth, learning. That's the one I always say, self-worth. Everybody you ever see from me, you've heard me say it. You know, making yourself feel that you're worth more, which means you can be better to the people around you. You know, we talk about things like addiction before, and I spoke to you about that. You know, the first step if you're going in a 12-step program is you need to kind of understand that you're powerless against it. You need to understand that you can try and do something better. If your self-worth is down here, you're never going to get to the point where you can start building up and beating it. It's so important, you know.
Yeah, you got to be happy in your own self before you can treat other people well. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot to be said for that. And I think by coming to the gym, I mean, not everybody, but 80-90% of people that come in there, they stay there long enough. They feel good about themselves. They're confident in themselves. They don't need to be getting in a fight or getting into rows with people. Someone says something wrong to them, they probably just laugh. What I did, I used to just laugh and walk away thinking, well, if I wanted to, I could finish you. But I've got better things going on in my life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Not every fight needs to be fought. You know what I mean? You're not there for that. You know, it's about that thinking, just changing your brain, channel your thinking to go, you know what, just thinking beyond the next 5 minutes, to thinking, you know, what could come.
There's a lot of kids in our gym that didn't really have many friends at their schools. And now there's a few of them in their WhatsApp groups and Snapchat and all the different stuff that they do and all that sort of thing. They keep in contact and check up on each other. If the ones that compete, if they're boxing, the other one will check up on them even though they're not coming, see how they got on. And my seniors are the same. We've got a WhatsApp group. They're always talking to each other. When lockdown's not here, they're out running and doing stuff together. Just gives you, like, being part of the gym, you're not judged in the gym. You said it before. You come into the gym, it doesn't matter what your background is. I have some right naughty boys coming to my gym as well on the open session night. Yeah. And when they're in there, until I tell someone who they are, people don't even know who they are. Do you know what I mean? A couple of boys have been in my gym before, and they've come in and trained and been there for a few weeks, and the boys have got on well with them. And then someone's gone to me, is that so and so? And I've gone, yeah. And they've gone, he's nothing like what everyone says, is he? Well, no, not when he's here. When he's here, he's just one of us. Yeah. What he does out there is different. So it's just, boxing's one of them places anybody can come to, and you can feel part of something, you know?
Yeah. And I think you said, your young kids in the gym, they're building a community within themselves. Like, you know, and when I spoke to Blaine Courtney a few weeks ago, again, Blaine, who mentioned how honest you are earlier, he said, you know, even when you were out, when he was left boxing and that, he still had that gang of lads who would look out for him on a night out and stuff like that, you know what I mean, look after him and that, because, you know, he knew them from the gym and they were like his pals.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way it is. Some of the lifelong friends I've made, we like talk all the time, we all keep in contact, it's mostly through the boxing. And even when I used to go out, when I was at Luton Farley, if we all went out together, we all looked out for each other. I mean, we didn't get into trouble, but we were looking out for each other. Like Blaine's been very open about his problems he's had in the past. Yeah. So when Blaine was out, if I saw Blaine out, I'd keep him beside me all night. At least if he's with me, I know that whatever he's doing it under my eye, rather than being away somewhere else with people that are not looking out for him and not looking after him.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he said it in your interview, didn't he? People like me and Marco, we see him out, he might be a bit of a mess or drunk, whatever. We'd always look after him, make sure he got home okay and stuff, you know?
And as you said, he's had his battles over the years, and he said to me he'd been in and out of things, but it was boxing. Actually, you know what? Today is actually the 11 years since he won his fight in Luton, actually. Today is
Michael Devine put up today all the
days. Today, it's just come up on my calendar on my phone. Yeah. And, you know, he said, you know, it was boxing that kept him on the straight and narrow over the last few years. You know, when he got himself straight, again, got self-worth, getting himself out of problems and addiction and stuff. You know, that's the thing that kept him going all this time. And obviously, he's a great lad now, and you know, he still has his struggles, but you know, he's on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, he's tried. He's always kept involved with boxing, even after he boxed as well, didn't he? But working with closely with Hot Ring Boxing Club, been up to mine a couple of times, but I mean, he's got a lot of it through Hot Ring. You know, he's made some good friends through there as well.
And that's all you want from young lads, you know. It's just to, and young lads just to get involved and just, you know, to, you know, try their best and give something their best and go for it and see that it makes results. Because we would rather, as much as we understand our stories and Blaine's stories, we would rather have it such a way that we have kids don't actually have to go down that road now, that we can get in contact with them earlier, identify them, so that, you know what, as much as that is our story and we wouldn't change it, we wouldn't like to see any young kid come to harm, would we?
No, and that's the thing. And that's one of the things now, that if I get this new place, that's what will be part of my goal. The competitive boxing won't be my main thing. I'll have people taking control of the competitive boxing, other coaches. My thing will be setting up projects, boxing-based projects for the kids to come in and get off, and adults, get away from the streets, crime, come to us, a safe place where they can talk to us. If they need to be pointed in the right direction to a social worker or to the police or to whoever they need to go to, we'll send them down the right routes, you know, rather than them struggling on their own and not having no one to talk to and getting deeper and deeper into this crap that they get drawn into, you know. Yeah. So like you said before, we're going to try and get involved with Kimberly Lamb at the VER, the Violence Exploitation Reduction Unit. I've been talking to some people in the children's services at Dunstable Town Council, because we're trying to take one of their places on, you know. So that's the route we want to go down, you know. Competitive boxing, but mostly I want to work with keeping people out of trouble now than anything else, you know.
And that's the thing, you can already see the kind of results that people like the, you know, VRU are doing in Bedfordshire at the moment, and, you know, Beds PCC. You know, the crime is coming down, violent crime coming down. You know, it's always in the newspapers at the moment, you know, and they are working so hard, trying to do everything, and they can only do so much. But we know that we can be part of that process just by, you know, you've seen it, I've seen it, and that's why I started Boxing Saves Lives, because I spent the last 4 years running Boxing Luton, and I've seen this, and I'm like, we can be part of this, we can do it. And we don't do it, it's not some sort of like project that we want to dip into and have a look. We're here for the long term to try and help people. We really want to go into for the long term. You know, when I speak to you about the boxing bursaries and that whole idea is that, you know, people could come to your gym or come to another gym across Luton, across Bedfordshire, and they wouldn't have to worry about it. Because imagine how bad would it be if some young child, boy or girl, couldn't access the gym, could have had their life changed, but because they didn't have the money to do it, they've been left on the scrap heap. Horrible. I hate the thought of that.
You know, I have kids come in my gym, I don't even charge.
Yeah.
Because they disappear for 3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 4 sessions, and I ring up their mum or their dad. I say, where's little Joey? I'm like, oh, we haven't got the money. I didn't ask you about the money. I said, where's little Joey? Get him in the gym.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I said, look, let's just sort it out later down the line. And then they'll come in and try and give me. And I say, no, keep it. Start paying from now if you've got it. But that's one of the things that we spoke about before, that I want in other areas like London and some of these other bigger cities, London, Manchester, places like that, there's a lot of money thrown into boxing, you know, to work inside these the estates and all that sort of stuff. Just around here, Luton and Dunstable, they don't seem to recognise the worth of it. And I think slowly they're starting to get that. I spoke to someone quite high up in Dunstable Town Council when we was looking at that thing. And he said, the reason you're standing in front of me is because I worked on a project before and I've seen it work. So that's why they're kind of getting involved with us. And obviously, we've proved it over the last 2 years where we are anyway. But we've got places in Dunstable now. When we get this other place, there's an education centre here for kids who are not confident enough to go to mainstream colleges and schools. They go there. It's like a little centre set up by a guy there. And as soon as we get this other place, he wants to set up a project with us. And we'll get funding for that. So it doesn't cost the kids anything. That's what we're going to try and do. Yeah. It's got to be paid for. We want to be able to run sessions each week for the kids and adults who can't afford it but need that bit of help, you know? Like there's a lot of funding out there now for over 40s men, because there's a lot of men, a lot of depression, anxiety, and obviously suicides where they've lost a loved one or been divorced from a person or whatever. They've realised now there's a lot of that going on. So that'd be another thing we'll be setting up as well with the new place, you know? So,
Yeah, I'm brilliant. And you know what, Liam, that's something we haven't even begun to tap into now because we're looking from the
Yeah,
crime prevention point of view. But actually, the mental health point of view is we know that works from people we see in the gym. But yeah, things like loneliness and stuff like that. When I updated my Twitter account when I set up Boxing Saves Lives, that was one of the things I brought up there. For improving mental health, crime prevention, and exclusion, obviously from schools and that, and from
yeah,
society really, and loneliness because it is staggering in a country like the United Kingdom where you have so many people who are quite lonely. I mean, you could be lonely, yourself. You could be lonely in a group of people. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You could, it's not doesn't mean you're on your own. It means you're lonely, and you
yeah,
need that proper human connection with people.
yeah.
And I think our sport can give that to people.
It does give it to you. You speak to most of the. You spoke to some of the people in my gym. We obviously won't name them on here, but now they're in the gym. They're a different person. Their
Yeah,
parents are comfortable. Their confidence is better. They're making more friends. They're doing better at school, or like some of my older ones now. They've got better jobs. It's proven. It's just that some of the hierarchy in some of these local authorities don't see it. All they
yeah,
see is a group of people punching each other in the face.
yeah,
So my kids' classes, you've been there, the 6-year-olds up to 15s who are not at a level where they can box, they don't even touch each other. It's
yeah,
literally
yeah.
fitness, bag work, pad work, circuits, shadow boxing, stuff like that, and a bit of fun thrown in, just to give them that bit of confidence and a bit of something about themselves.
And that's what we're here for. Both yourself and Ringcraft, and me at Boxing
Yeah,
Gym, is that letting people aware that so many kids or adults go into boxing gyms and never even get into the ring, but they literally just do
right.
it for that structure in their life, so that they can actually, they'll have a group of people around them, as you said, and they'll be able to do something they enjoy. They'll be able to work at good exercise, but actually they'll have that connection with people.
Yeah. I have the competitive boxer side of things in the seniors. So like some are amateur, some are white collar. They the boxers drift in and out more, drift in and out. They come in and out. They go and they go. As you've seen before, I have a good 15, 20 in all 4 of my sessions, and it's probably only about 6 to 8 of them that are regular fighters. They regularly box on the circuits. There's
Yeah,
about another 4 or 5 that dabble in it. But then the other 10, 12 of each, so another 50% of the class, they're just there to keep fit,
yeah.
to enjoy it, to be part of it.
I mean, the thing is, where we are now is we're a million miles away from boxing itself because, and I
Yeah,
always say this to people is that what a lot of people see on the TV is the pay-per-view boxing and all of this and these beefs and all that. But the reality is that we're showing the people what is going on in boxing gyms all the time.
yeah,
You're a non-for-profit gym. I'm a non-for-profit organization. We are so far removed from people who actually make money in boxing. We don't come into
yeah.
what we're doing right now to make money. We are literally just there to try and change communities or open people's mind to what the sport can give at the very
Yeah.
grassroots level.
And that's where the work needs to be put in at the grassroots level. A lot of these big pro boxers now that have come up to these higher levels, a lot of them have come out of bad estates or out of crime and out of this and
Yeah,
out of that. It's been openly publicised about Joshua, Dylan White. I mean, the Smiths. They're all tough. They're all tough people from tough backgrounds. They're not just the average. Most of them are not just the average day Joe that just went to university, got a degree, and thought I'll be a boxer. They come from these backgrounds. But
yeah,
places like Liverpool, like I said, places like Liverpool, places like Manchester, places like London, they pump money into these things. There's projects set up for them. They can get funding. You've seen you've seen me. I've been battling for 2 years trying to get funding. We're
yeah.
starting to get somewhere now, but it's still little bits here and there, little bits here and there.
Mm.
You know. So as soon as it's more recognised around here, we'll be able to do a lot more work, which is what me and you are working on behind the scenes.
All we can do is plug away. All we can do is just think about if we can make a difference for a few kids and start getting it out there. People can
Yeah,
start seeing it, and grown-ups as well. I always say kids because obviously from the crime prevention point of view, as young children, as I said, we don't want them getting in trouble. But also what we mentioned, people who are in trouble coming out of probation, want to keep them on the right track as well because obviously re-offending rates are high. So we're just trying to make a difference because the impact of that goes far beyond somebody not doing something because it's less of a strain on the police, it's less of a strain on the mental health, it's less of a strain on the victim's mental health. All of these things are actually happening, but yet we're struggling to get people to recognise what we can do.
Do you know what half the problem is? And I had an argument with a charity called Sported, I think they're called, or Sported. They rang me up and offered me money, offered me help, offered me this, offered me that. They said, but you can only be focusing on people from the age of 16 to 25-year-olds. And I said, me, I'm not one to go, yeah, okay. I went, why? The woman went, what? I said, why? Why you can't train on 16 to 25-year-olds? So they're the ones that are involved in the most crime. That's the figures. That's the facts. The drugs, the knife crime, the violence, the theft, the robberies. It's 16 to 25-year-olds the highest thing. I said, Sam, so why are we not even getting involved with the 16-year-olds, the young one, and trying to prevent it before it happens, like we're saying? Get them involved. They were saying getting the 16 to 25-year-olds involved in sport to bring them away from what they're involved in. So that's why are we not in, like, trying to prevent it from even happening at the younger ages, like we've always said, the 6 to 15-year-olds, rather than just getting stuck in when the damage is already done, when they're 16 to 25-year-olds already involved in crime. That's where it's all wrong.
You're that example. I'm sure there are well-meaning people from where they're coming from, but that is the classic example of treating the symptoms and not the cause. You're literally just treating, stable door after the horse is bolted. It's too late. The kid's life is already ruined. They've got a criminal record. They're going to be in trouble. They're not going to get a proper job for the rest of their life. The chances are they probably will reoffend. Not that we will give up on kids of that age, but the reality is, if you're just moving towards kids of that age, not that we wouldn't help them, you're not going to be covering everything. So you need to be kind of thinking of everything. They're important, but again, the other bit about not getting to the 16 and getting in trouble, that's so important as well.
Yeah. And that's their school years as well. You're not going to get them years back. All right, you can go and do further education, but you're getting involved in them from the 6 years old up to 15, which is supposedly the ones that are not the lower level of crime. They're the ones who are going to get stuck into them, get it into their head. This is we only get one chance at life. This is the years now we want to be getting your education. Don't get me wrong, not everybody's brainy anyway. I mean, I've got people in my gym that they're not the cleverest, but at least get that base to start with. If you haven't got that base to start with, then you've had it. By the time they get to 16, like you say, 16 to 25, they're already involved. It's hard for them to break away. If they're in a gang, they're definitely going to have problems breaking away because they'll have to leave the area they're in because the gangs won't let them leave if they're valuable to them. So like you say, prevention rather than intervention.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Liam, when I wrote that bit in County Lines, I wrote specifically about that problem where you've got people who the amount of cost involved in getting a family moved out of the area. The cost of police moving people, the cost of the councils paying them to get out to another area, to find another property outside in a different county. It's all a massive cost. And you need to get to the point where you're actually preventing that stuff right at the start. Trying to get in at the start, so you're kind of stopping that pipeline of people and problems later on. Because you just end up hemorrhaging money.
Exactly. Problem is for a lot of them, once they've been to prison and they're part of that thing, then it's hard for them to come out of that life. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them that do, so don't think I'm saying that. But that's the bit we want to get involved in now, showing them that there's more to it. I think you'll find from a lot of lads if you speak to them, once they've been to prison and they're out, there's not a lot of support when they come out. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they're just put back into the wild, should we say? Do you know what I mean? Rather than if they had if they had something to get involved in or get stuck into, bit of further education, and then work with someone in further education alongside training with us in the gym, or even if they've got some of them might have been involved in boxing somewhere along the line or involved in a sport, any sport. Why not get them involved in helping younger kids and educating them kids on not ended up where they did? That's something I would like to do. Maybe have them come and help us in the gym every now and then, and just speaking to the kids and saying, look, this is where I ended up. Don't end up. Stay here and stay focused.
When I spoke to Kay Prosper the other day, because he works with PRUs as well, who's referral units, he was saying to me, and it hadn't occurred to me really, is that the best thing to do is preventing these problems would be trying to get in contact with the kids who are further up the chain when they're in these gangs, because they'll have a lot of kids who will just follow them. If you can get them on board, then a lot of kids will just follow them. So you kind of got that pattern where you can actually move them. They'll all follow each other, at least in to do something good. Yeah.
One of the fellas I'm going to get involved with now, we're trying to get involved with Wayne Taylor. He runs, I forgot the name of it now. It's an education centre up here anyway in Dunstable. And that's basically, he set up a project years ago up in London. And that's basically what they did. They set up it was a football camp, I think he did, football and basketball. And that's what they did. They brought a lot of the hierarchy, got involved and came there and enjoyed what they were doing there. And then from there, they put them to getting a better education and a better life. And that's what they did. They tried to get up, rather than going to the foot soldier, should we say, they tried to hit the hierarchy, And that's, like you say, that's what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and all we can do is try and do our bit from our end and try and stop kids from getting that far up. But the thing is, we our boxing gyms, and I've said this before, we can be a place for a victim and also a perpetrator, because you want a young
No,
kid who actually wants to get out of that life, and we
yeah.
can be a place for them because their lives need structure and discipline as well.
Like, I've got kids in my gym that are the bullies and the thugs, and I've got kids in my gym that are the victims of them bullies and thugs. Same as the adults. Like I said to you before, I've got adults come in my gym with no confidence because they've been victims of crime or just generally got no confidence. I've also got some boys that come in my gym that have been involved in crime, but when they come to our place and to try and better themselves.
Hmm.
But like you say, the support and the funding needs to be there, because not everybody can afford to come to the gyms, like you say. And that's where we need to start banging our heads to try and get this bit of funding in place for these things. Because like I say, where my gym's got, this new place we based, if I get it, it's right in the middle of a council estate where I know there's like a lot of people don't work or have got bad jobs or whatever. So I want to make what we're going to try and do is make the gym available to people who are maybe on the dole or can't work or don't work, and try and have a cheaper option for them or a free option for them to be able to come and use the gym.
Yeah, brilliant. And so in this, when we do get things back together, and before we get your new venue and all that, if you can get that sorted, Liam, what are you hoping is going to happen in the next few weeks in terms of the gym reopening with some of the? So say in about September time, what do you think is going to be happening with the gym?
With us, hopefully by September, we should be, like you say, in the new place, be all set up, setting up our projects, get our kids' classes going again, get some women's classes going.
Yeah.
Like I said, the over 40s classes, targeting those that have got that stress, that loneliness, all that sort of thing, and maybe and really start setting up some projects with yourself, like you say with Kimberly, with a few other with the PCC and stuff like that, where we can set up projects in there, free projects where the kids can come in, spend some time in there, even if it's not solely boxing. Do you know what I mean? Just come in there and set up workshops for them to show them there is help out there. There is people you can go to and stuff like that. So that's our thing. I can't see boxing gyms doing very much before September anyway, to be honest. After I said that to you right from the start, I don't think gyms will open it in July at all. Probably be like all the time. I know they're letting the pros and the elite amateurs box, but I think the general public being allowed in a combat gym, and the younger amateurs, I can't see that happening anytime soon. If I'm honest.
How do you think it would be received by young people when the gyms reopen? Because I'd like to think that there'll be young kids who'd be chomping at the bit to get into the gym. But do you think there'll be some adults who know a bit more about COVID and all that might be a bit more cautious about turning back up at the gym?
I think the problem you're going to have is some people think it's a load of rubbish, and some people are very cautious of it. So it's either going to go one way or the other with the gym. You're either going to be flooded with adults and kids. Adults who want to get themselves back in shape because they've been sitting on the sofa, and kids, they're going to get the kids back into doing something because they've just been running riot around the house. Or it's going to go the other way, like you say, where people aren't going to want to come into the gym until they know it's safe to go out. Do you know what I mean? Or there is an antidote for it, or whatever they want to call it. So it could go one way or the other.
So all we can do now is during these summer months to start making plans for things that are going to be making a difference at some point when the gyms do come back, and when we can have people back as normal as we can.
The problem you're going to have, JP, is a lot of gyms every week now. There's gyms closing down, combat gyms, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, karate, all them sort of places. If they rent their buildings like we do, different from the ones that are subletting off other buildings. There's a lot of them giving sub stories who actually sublet off another building. So there's nothing for them to worry about. They're just not boxing. Do you know what I mean? And there's people like us now who rent our building. We have to find £1,200 a month while that building's shut. So every month, I haven't missed a payment yet on anything. I took no rest periods, nothing. So this is nearly the 5th month now by the end of July, isn't it? £1,200 a month.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you do the maths. We were given a £10,000 grant by the local authority. That's that 5 months. That's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? £6,000. So that's nearly gone. Plus spending it on other stuff that needed doing. So, be honest with you now, if it goes longer than July, you'll probably find we'll close down and we'll just aim to reopen in that new building. That'll be us. We won't pay any more rent on there because we can't physically afford to. I'm paying out my own pocket.
Bad. Yeah, you're just good money after bad to sit for an empty gym. Totally understand.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can't. Listen, they say you can reopen the gym, but there's social distancing. how am I going to social distance 6-year-olds, 7-year-old, 8-year-olds, 9-year-old, 10-year-old kids with all the best intentions in the world in that little place that we've got? It's not going to happen. The adults you could. Do you know what I mean? The adults are at their own risk coming in. They know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens.
We'll have to see what happens. Listen, Liam, I've just had the clock come up and said I've got a minute left. You do talk a lot, don't you, mate? You know what I mean? This is great, this is. Right, listen, I'm going to put this on YouTube, mate, and we're going to have to put it out as part of the James Campbell Collective and all that. So I'll send you a link of that, mate. Thank you so much, Liam, for following. And I'm looking forward to working with you, and hopefully once the gyms are open, we'll be in contact in the next few weeks.
Yeah. We'll get it rocking. We'll get something set up.
Pardon?
We'll get something set up. We'll get these projects going that we've got our ideas for, you know?
Yeah, perfect. And that's all we can do, man. We keep plugging away, man, see what we can do to make a difference.
Exactly. All right, then, mate.
Thanks again, Liam.
Cheers, man. Take care.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.